Today's discussion will be on implementation of differentiation of instruction. Tomlinson speaks of differentiation as tailoring instruction to meet the needs of the students in the classroom. After all, the quote, one size fits all, may have been applied to education in the past, but the manifestation of different teaching methods has proven this quote to be inapplicable. Differentiation gives the teachers the opportunity to think of different approaches as far as teaching the content to the students. Also, differentiation provides students different ways to learn the information that the teacher is teaching. Differentiation consists of three components, which are content, process, and product. Content consists of how one will teach the lesson in a way that students will retain the information that is necessary towards their learning. Process consists of different learning activities that will engage the student and help them to retain the content. Product consists of how the student will demonstrate that they have learned the content using various forms of assessment assigned by the teacher. Learning environment is another one that Tomlinson includes in the differentiation method of teaching. This consists of a teacher setting up the classroom that encourages the students to take on learning, that encourages them to be engaged in the lesson, and to participate and take ownership of their learning. At my school, the principal encourages for teachers to participate in peer observations three times a year as a part of our own individual professional development. With art being considered as a naturally differentiated type of class, I decided to observe a teacher that is outside of my content area. So I asked around my coworkers and decided to listen to a English teacher teach a lesson on Macbeth. So when I walked into the classroom, I immediately assessed around the class, and there were 25 students. So the teacher presented a visual of a castle and talked about the importance of ruling a country. Then she divided the class into 5 groups, and so that they could participate in a think, pair, share activity, which encourages students to share ideas and discuss, ideas based on topic of discussion. So the students were asked to decide on what they would do if they were the ruler of a country, and how would they implement their power, and what are the pros and cons of having power. So in this activity, the students discussed, what they would do if they had the power to rule a country, what type of laws and protocols will they set in place or be established. So they really took ownership of the discussion. And towards the end of the Think, Pair, Share activity, the teacher asked for the students to decide on who wants to be the speaker. Sometimes there was 2 people out of a group. They discussed how they would, take ownership of having power and ruling a country. They also discussed the pros and cons of having the power to rule a country and what type of laws they would set in place. A lot of students, they were engaged. They added feedback, whether it was positive or negative. There were also some debates. So it was really interesting how the teacher set up her environment as far as having groups to discuss, their ideas on ruling a country and how power can either play a negative or positive role to that effect. So after the activity, the teacher played a video on Macbeth. It was a short clip of key events that took place in the story. So with this activity, the students they paired up with a partner, and there was a worksheet that they had to complete along with the video. The worksheet helped them to take notes on key events that were taking place in the video. After the video, the teacher had the class to discuss, their notes, just for reiteration of what they gathered from the video. Lastly, students were asked to complete a chart of events to summarize the key events that they've learned, also how power played a role in ruling the country. Um, so for the lesson, the teacher really put into consideration to meet the students' needs, whether it was visual, auditory, kinesthetic. The teacher, she had a discussion set up for the students. For those who are auditory listeners, she had a visual of the castle, and that was for students who are visual learners. They can immediately, gather information. How does it apply to society today? That was another topic as far as the content of differentiation. The product was completed in the summary of events, chart of events that took place in the video. So the teacher did a really good job, I thought, of differentiating the lesson, especially for English. The students really retained information. They were able to recall back important key events that this teacher was looking for. So I really enjoyed observing differentiation in English and, taking notice to how core teachers implement differentiation to that lesson. Thank you.